There are 525,600 minutes in 1 year, but how do you measure a year? To quote the song Seasons of Love from the musical Rent, in daylights and sunsets, in midnights and cups of coffee, in inches and miles and laughter and strife. In the Gemara, the sages measure time in a variety of ways. For example, in Masechet Brachot, they measure through eating habits. Rabbi Chanina says that the time for the recitation of the evening Shema begins when the poor person enters to eat his bread with salt. In Masechet Nedarim, they measure time through speech. How much time is required to say a short phrase, the time necessary for a student to say to his rabbi or to her rabbinit, "Peace be upon you, my teacher." For the past 7.5 years, 2,711 days to be exact, I've measured my life through learning the daf. I've learned almost every day for the past 7.5 years, in truths to be learned, in goodness and care, in friendship. During all this time, the daf and the people who learn with me have been my rock, my support, and my inspiration. My reason for starting to learn the daf are not so inspirational, but rather pragmatic. I had just lost my job, and I needed something to get me out the door each day. I saw an announcement that Rabbanit Michelle's Daf Yomi group was going to be starting Masechet Sotah at her house, so I joined. After a short time, I was hooked. A bit later, I found the perfect job, which I still love, and which gives me the flexibility to continue learning the daf every day. In these 7+ years, my life has included the marriage of a daughter, my eldest son's university graduation, the death of both of my parents, the birth of a grandson, a terror attack that critically injured my younger son, lots of hospitals, lots of rehab, lots of love, and lots of friendship from my daf buddies and more. Basically a roller coaster. My only other time learning Gemara was many years ago when I was first married. I learned on Shabbat afternoons with a group of men from my community. We spent years learning a few pages of Masechet Sanhedrin. When Sanhedrin came around in the Daf Yomi cycle, I was very excited. However, in the middle of learning Sanhedrin, my father became very ill, and I had to go to Florida. He passed away the day before Hurricane Irma hit South Florida. During the week between his passing and the funeral, Rabbanit Michelle and my other daf buddies were in constant telephone and email contact with me. I felt the love and caring of the community, and I saw how Daf Yomi really had become part of my life in laughter and strife. That year, I chose to attend the 7 a.m. minyan to say Kaddish for my father so that I could make the daf at 8:15 at Rabbanit Michelle's dining room table. Ruth, unfortunately, joined after a few months. Another year rolled around, and we got to Masechet Chulin. We hadn't gotten much into it when my son Netanel was gravely injured in a terror attack while on guard duty as a soldier in the IDF. I remember that the soldiers knocked on our door on December 13th, 2018, and said, "Your son has been critically injured. Hurry up, pack a bag and come to the hospital in Jerusalem." Again, my daf support group kicked in. My daf friends, Naomi and Sherry, called me from my house, asking what they should pack for me and bring to the hospital. Ani drove me home and back again to the hospital a few days later. So many others were there for me. Thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. We celebrate good times together as well. On January 2020, we sat together at the Siyum HaShas, and many more friends started learning Daf Yomi. Women asked how I could make such a commitment. I told them, take it one day at a time. Daf learning grows on a person after a while. Then Corona hit. We could no longer learn at Rabbanit Michelle's dining room table. Nope, Zoom. Instead of our small, intimate group, we became an international group of friends from Australia, Europe, Israel, and North America. Lots of writing in the chat box during class and via WhatsApp after class. It's been especially fun to meet people in person when the chances come. Almost a year after Zoom started, my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer, so I went to visit her. During my time in America, I got to meet Joanna in person in Washington, D.C. My mom passed away during Masechet Beitzah. I couldn't go to the 7 a.m. minyan to say Kaddish because it would be too late for the 7:15 daf. I followed Emma's lead and went to the 6:10 minyan instead. Elisa, unfortunately, joined our group a bit later. We supported each other during some of the difficult pages of Masechet Yevamot. As a community, we recently came together in mourning the loss of one of our daf friends, Carol. Even though we've never met her in person, we all felt her loss and were there to provide support for her husband, Art. During my Daf Yomi journey, I have not only met living friends, but I've gotten to know so many of the rabbis. Some may ask nudnicky questions, others are quite harsh. Others are very compassionate and caring. I would have liked to meet more of their daughters, wives, sisters, and mothers. My first grandson was born during Masechet Ketubot. He's growing up during a time when women learning and teaching Gemara is normal and natural. Thank you, Rabbanit Michelle. You have created an amazing community. Thank you to my family and friends around the world for your encouragement and support. Thank you, Daf friends near and far, for being here for me in good times and bad. I'm unable to mention everyone by name. Just know that you're all in my heart. You've improved and enhanced my life in ways I can't begin to describe. Thank you for joining me on this Daf Yomi adventure. To finish with the Seasons of Love and Rent theme, it's time now to sing out, though the story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember a year, or a cycle in Daf, in the life of friends. So, will I continue? Daf is a way of life for me now. I can't imagine starting my day without learning the Daf.